Aloha and welcome to the Sylvan Bell Business Growth and Exit Strategy Podcast, your guide to building companies that command maximum multiples. I'm Sylvan Bell, author of 5 books on business strategy and sales, creator of the Sell Framework, Scale Framework, and Driver Test. I work with owners of $10 million to $250 million companies, whether you're scaling for growth or positioning for a profitable exit. Each episode breaks down one framework, strategy, or concept you can apply this week to grow revenue systematically, scale operations, and maximize enterprise value. Let's get started. Today, we are on episode number 19, how positioning affects buyer interest. And you're going to want to lock in on this one because it affects your multiple, how you're going to exit, and how you can get paid, or even if you could sell. So you can have 2 companies in the same town, have the same revenue, same profit, and one gets 5 people who wants to buy it, and one can get 0. And it could come down to the position of that company, what it looks like, what it sounds like, and what the buyer thinks. Not the buyer who's purchasing your business, but the market, the people who actually pay you the money. So buyers, they don't shop businesses, they shop categories. They take a look, and if you can be categorized quickly, your price is generic. And if you're a generic price, you may miss out on multiple unless the buyer is coming in and they're being strategic and they want your company because it fulfills an area or region, and they're saying it's a possibility we can slide you into a platform company. You want the ability to have the most amount of optionality, and that's going to come from positioning. Positioning means that you're a specialist and not a generalist. If you serve everybody, you're a generalist. If you specialize in what you do and people know that you specialize in it, you can get a higher price point in the marketplace. People may be and are willing to pay more. And if they're willing to pay you more, there's a reason for it. That's what makes you special. That's typically the question. Now, I will share this with you. I come from a heavy home service background. So construction and all the things that go around home. And I know this for a fact, that what happens is the private equity groups, the investment groups, they go and they go to a town and they go on Google and they look up reviews and they say, what type of company are we looking for? So they're looking for reviews, they're looking for history, they're looking for stability. And then they make phone calls. And then they say, hey, my name is, I'm going to use it, Scott, and I'm with an investment firm and I'd love to have lunch with you. And then you go to lunch and then they say, are you interested in buying? We've done some research on you. And then they engage a conversation. That conversation could take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, right? Because not everybody's ready to sell right now. Maybe their business isn't ready to sell right now. And maybe the thing that they're telling you is you're almost a specialist, but here's a couple of things that we want to see. Sometimes a good company will coach you. Sometimes a good investor, a good private equity firm will say, hey, you're not there yet, kid, but here's a couple of things that you got to do to get better, and we would love to buy you. If you can turn your phrase into something like we do X for Y, we sell products for specific people, right? I'm going to give you a golf example. We sell golf clubs for left-handed people. That's a very specific niche market because it's about 10% of the population of the world's left-handed. And if you can define who you are in a couple of sentences and not really be defined by anybody else, you have some defensibility. If people go, hey, XYZ company, your company is XYZ. XYZ company is known for dependability. Nobody else in the market is known for that. That's an advantage. That's something that can and has the ability to help you out. Vagueness is going to cost you. So if you can't explain who you are and what you do in very simple terms, then what's going to happen is you're going to get blended in with the rest of the market. The best bet for you to have happen is an investor, private equity, a buyer goes and talks to one of your competitors. And your competitor says, I'm not ever selling, but the person that you're explaining that's got this really good company sounds like, I'm going to use my name, Scott. You should probably go have a conversation with them. And this happens. Believe it or not, your competitors talk about you and a data book is presented and put together. And it's like, who do we want to buy? We're going to go into a town. We're going to go into a market and we want the best people, the best bang for the buck. They've got a good reputation. They've got defensible intellectual property. They've got a good name. They've got good reviews. And we can slide other companies under their brand, right? That's a platform company. You want something along those lines because you're paid a higher multiple for it. Like sometimes 5 to 10 times more because what you have is special. And it does matter. Your pricing power signals where you're up to. I took a conversation a couple years back with a company where there's some things that were unfortunate that happened inside of the organization. And for 10 years, they didn't make any changes. And they didn't raise their prices for 10 years. They didn't make the necessary processes in procedures put in place. And so when they came to the market and said, hey, we want to sell, they were thinking one number, easy number. They were thinking $1 million. But at the end of the day, the real valuation of that company was way less than $1 million. And it's hard to be the bearer of bad news. It's hard to walk into a business when somebody goes, hey, I'm expecting 10 million. And you're like, yeah, but the company's worth 2.5. And they're like, no. I saw, a company up the street in the same area get $10 million. I'm like, why were they special? Well, because they did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, do you do any of that? No. It's not special. It's a dime a dozen. And you get majorly dinged and dented for that. Proof isn't just adjectives, it's evidence. Case studies, before and after metrics, retention, referrals, win rates, and then the why you stories. Why did somebody choose you? Why did they pick you over somebody else? Why did they come and say, we want to do business with XYZ company, which is you today? And message from your sponsor, Scott Sylvan Bell. That's me. If you're getting value from this episode, here's how to go deeper. First, subscribe to my weekly newsletter, The Party, at scottsylvanbell.com. That's where I share the strategies, frameworks, and case studies I don't release anywhere else. You'll get one actionable insight every week you can implement inside your business immediately. Second, while you're on the site, download the complete Sell Framework, Scale Framework, and Drivers Test, all free with scoring guides, worksheets, and step-by-step implementation checklist. These are the same frameworks I use with $10 million to $250 million companies to build systematic revenue, scale operations, and maximize enterprise value. Go to scottsylvanbell.com right now, subscribe to the newsletter, grab the frameworks, and let's keep building companies that command maximum multiples. Let's get going. I mentioned earlier that buyers will pay more for a platform company or something that's a strategic fix. If you're fixing the gap in their area, in their map, in their business, they're willing to pay you more for that because it's going to take them time, energy, and effort and capital to go create from zero. And so when they come in and they say, hey, we're going to give you a 3 times multiple, 5 times multiple, 10 times multiple, what they're saying is your business is worth the value of time. Your business has multiple behind it because it saves us from having to try to go buy clients, try to build a product or build a service. Even tech does this. Tech sometimes will take a look and go, what's innovation right now? Oh, there's a new platform out there. If we had to put the time, energy, and effort into building this, it would take us 18 months and it would take us $75 million. Or this company already has all this work done and they have a valuation, we'll give them $500 million. And you're like, wait, how does 75 and 5? Speed. It's speed. It's how fast can you take it to market. It's how fast can you get things done. And if you're filling in a gap, you have the capability of winning. You want unique positioning because buyers don't feel like there's going to be an immediate price war when people find out that you sold or that changes have been made. This reduces the downside, the perceived downside, and your job is to make that obvious. Your job is to make it say, hey, we're the best at what we do, and if something happens and I leave the organization, that company's still going to be the best at what they do. The positioning of your company is the story or the golden thread that's going to make due diligence make sense to the buyer. Your narrative has got to be coherent, and buyers want to know that they don't have to invent information, that they can repeat your story, that they can go, everybody answers to somebody. And in the case of somebody buying your business, there is a salesman, right? They're going to be a consultant, but they're going to be a salesman. And the salesman is going to come in and take a look, and then they're going to go to a meeting, and they're going to talk about what are the opportunities. And if it's a nationwide company, you got all the people throughout the territories that come in, okay? And somebody says, well, I've got this company, and Excel Eddie went through and did the math on all these companies, and they say A, B, C, D, or E, and when's the best opportunity to buy this company? And they go to the races. And if that salesperson can tell your narrative and give it in a way that makes sense, you're going to win. You're going to get paid more. You're going to be the shiny object that everybody wants. But you don't want to be like the innovation trap of how you explain yourself. You want to use buyer language and categories. You want to make it so that if a consumer was going to make the purchase, that is the angle that you're going towards. Even if the language feels simple. Even if that language feels simple. You don't want it to be grandiose because it feels like you're trying to hide something at that point. One of the ways to prepare for this is to run a 2-slide test. You're going to take 2 slides where you can explain who you are, who you serve, the problem you solve, why you're the best option, and what kind of proof you have. And you put these slides next to some of your competitors and you figure out, hey, who's the better opportunity? Who fills that position better? And if it's not you right now, you got some work to do, and that's okay, right? Get consulting, get some help, get somebody to come in and say, we need to get your positioning better. We need to get you higher stature in the marketplace. It may be in service companies, tends to be to wrap the vehicles better. It could be to put employees in uniforms. It could be for a sales process to use a set sales process. It could be the way that the office looks, to clean up the office and spruce it up. It doesn't have to be an executive level lounge, but you do want that feel for when people come in to say, oh, it's this much better. I've been in some multi-million-dollar businesses that were in barns, and they felt like barns and they looked like barns. And I've been in some million-dollar businesses that look like this doesn't belong. It's really got to fit your industry and it's got to fit your service. Strong positioning allows for you to charge more, increase your conversion rate, and reduce sales friction. It does overall improve the customer quality and the type of people that you bring inside of your business. Buyers love this because it makes it feel like the sell is repeatable, that you could do it over and over and over again. You want people saying, I love your company, I love your organization, and you want that to happen in mass. So you want to build the position in a way that a larger company would feel, so that when you sell and deliver your offering, people feel special about what they got, that it's not a commodity. It's not what everybody else did. It's not like off the rack. It has like a feel to it without being custom and the drag of being custom. But here's the thing. You don't want to be founder dependent. You don't want integration to look painful when the company sells. You want to know that, hey, on the day of the sell, we can walk away, exchange keys, and everything's going to be good. So for you today, what you're going to do is you're going to take a look at your competition, and you're going to take a look at your homepage, and you're going to say, hey, like who would the consumer decide on first? And then you're going to call your competition, and you're going to call your office, and then you're going to ask for things, and you're going to make some comparisons, and you're going to Frankenstein this. And this is going to take time, and this is going to take effort. This isn't all meant to be done in a day. Like, I get impatient. Just so you know, I'm working on a huge project right now that's supposed to take 3 months. And in my mind, I'm like, I could probably do it in a week. Like, that's not true. Like, this is meant to take time. So you're gonna figure out what actions need to be taken first. Okay. But if a buyer can't make that decision when they look at your process, your product, and your service in 10 seconds, you're absolutely volunteering for a discount. And it's okay for you to make upgrades over time. Mahalo for listening to the Sylvan Bell Business Growth and Exit Strategy podcast. Here's what's available to you right now. First, subscribe to this podcast so you get every framework we release. Second, visit scottsylvanbell.com to access the Sell Framework, Scale Framework, and Driver Test. All free with complete scoring guides and implementation worksheets. Third, subscribe to my weekly newsletter, The Party, where I break down strategies and frameworks you won't find anywhere else with one actionable insight every week. Go to scottsylvanbell.com and enter your email. And if this episode added value, share it with another business owner building a $10 million to $250 million company. Until next time, keep building companies that command maximum multiples. Aloha.